Hi guys, my name is Kirsty. Welcome back to Upside Down Books. Today we're going to be talking about why you need to read The Beautiful by Renée Ahdieh.
Non più tra I farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di torno.
So this is like one of my new favorite reads of the year. I've just absolutely demolished this book and loved it. It was just, I can't believe how much I liked it, considering how skeptical I was going into it. I don't know if you remember my TBR jar pick for October, when I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this because it's got vampires in it. I'm not really sure it's my thing anymore. And then I was just like, I can't get enough of it. I did the fun task of also tabbing every time there was a brutal murder, so I can happily forewarn you and say that there are 4, 5-ish complicated, but let's go with 5. There's like 5 brutal murders in this book, which is really fun. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why you need to read this, because there was some hype when this came out, but not enough, sir. No, sir. More people need to read this. This is very good. And I'm just gonna start with saying that this finishes on the most wicked cliffhanger, and I'm very upset that Ahdieh thought that that was a good place to leave things off, because now I have to like just be stressed until I can get my hands on a copy of book 2, which, you know, isn't like the worst problem in the world to have, but I can't believe I thought I was missing part of my book. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's look at some statistics. This was obviously a 5 out of 5 star read. This was obviously a 5 out of 5 star read for me, no questions asked. So, Renée Ahdieh is a really popular YA author. If that name doesn't ring a bell for you, let me illuminate your mind. Renée Ahdieh became really popular when she wrote the Wrath and the Dawn series. It was the Wrath and the Dawn, the Rose and the Dagger, which is a retelling of 1001 Nights with the main character Shahrazad, and it is just incredible, and if you haven't read that, then you absolutely should. She then wrote a Mulan retelling, which I admit was not my cup of tea, and I actually DNF'd it, so I was really nervous going into this, going, well, I loved one of her books and I hated the other one, so where is this gonna lie? And I'm thrilled to say that this was as good as The Wrath and the Dawn for myself. So this is book 1 in a series that looks like it's just going to be a duology at the moment. The series is also called The Beautiful. It has an average rating of 3.67 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and that's from an average of nearly 16,000 readings all up. So it's like pretty well read, but honestly, like, more if you need to pick this book up, it's worth it. It's nearly 450 pages long, and it was released at the very end of 2019, so it's still like a relatively new release. But yeah, those are like the main things I really want to talk about there. This is obviously a fantasy, it's a paranormal fantasy, and the paranormal creatures we have in here are vampires, but keep watching because vampires are not dead. Huh. This was like a pun, because I've been pretty much done with vampires for a long time, and I've been almost done with like the paranormal genre on the whole for a while. There's been like a few select books here and there which have like tickled my fancy, but the reason I was apprehensive going into this was because it is a vampire book, and I don't know, like Twilight happened 10 years ago and we're all like, yeah, okay, that's where vampires stay. Back in the 2010s. That sort of era, but this is like so tastefully done. The word vampire is used, I think, once in the book, like it's hardly used at all, so it's all sort of hinted at. It's not really explicitly like, oh, I sparkle in the sun and I'm a vampire, rah, like Edward Cullen sort of crap. It's like adult, more adult. It's less tweeny and it's more adult than Twilight is. So like, if you're not a fan of Twilight anymore, or you never were, then don't worry. This is a whole different kettle of fish, so you'll be fine. I found this to be fun because it really read as a thriller. Obviously with like the murders we've got going through here, it does have some like serious themes, and I admit that twice it happens that I went to bed having finished on a murder, and that was like super spooky, but like we all know my scare factor is -3, so like you'll probably be like, Kirsty, this isn't even scary at all, what are you talking about? So this is like definitely a little bit more adult. There's really bloody murders when it happens, like people torn apart I'm talking about. So if this is not your cup of tea, then like there's not a heavy emphasis on it, but it is in the book, so just, you know, be warned. But yeah, I found it really fascinating because it's set in New Orleans, and I have a particular fascination with New Orleans for reasons I don't really understand why. It just sounds like such a magical and vibrant city. Probably has something to do with Princess and the Frog, I'm not gonna lie. The main character comes from Paris, and her name is Celine, and she is moving away, running away from her old life because she murdered somebody. All these dark themes are coming out, but yeah, she murdered somebody, so she's gone, whoop, and she's got on a ship, and she's gone all the way across the world, and she found herself in New Orleans with a bunch of other like mismatched ragtag girls. who are also like escaping various parts of their lives. They're all from different parts of the world, so there's like a really great multicultural sense in this book that's not like overly done, but it's just like tastefully there. And New Orleans is a great setting for this, considering that a lot of people will speak French from the French Quarter there, so there's like lots of languages present, which I really liked. That blended with like the natural sort of Spanish vibe that happens in like Southern America was just like such a lovely cocktail of cultures. So it's really fascinating. It's set in 1872 and she gets there in like chapter 2, there's a murder. You can see the first murder happens really early on in the book, and you're playing this game throughout trying to work out who the evil vampire is, because it's quite clear that there's good guys and bad guys, and there are people that you're like, I'm pretty sure they're vampires, but because they don't really talk about it and no labels are put down, you're just sort of left guessing. You're like, they're otherworldly. You don't know until quite late into the book with great certainty anyway. I'm sure more astute readers out there would be like, it's very obvious that they're vampires, but I was enjoying suspension of reality and just had no idea what was going on and was enjoying being thrilled every turn, every corner. I just really enjoyed it. There's like a really great like enemies to lovers romance in here. There's some unexpected things that happen. There's some fantastic female characters. There's a really awesome female like best friendship. I don't believe there's really any LGBT rep in here that I can recall. If there is, it's obviously very minor. So there's not any like LGBT rep, but there is obviously cultural rep, I want to say, to a degree. It's just like the kind of book you want to read when you're reading about paranormal fantasy, but it's not completely whitewashed, and that is always a big tick in these days. I mean, like, what else can I say about this? I just think this has been like really underhyped. There's not enough people raving about it. I have spoken to so many people this week who are like, oh my god, this was one of my favorite reads of the year. So I just want to implore to you today that this is really worth it. Don't be put off by it being a throwback to vampires, because this is how vampires should be written. It's a fast-paced read. It's really fun. It's exploring different settings, different people who are bringing different things to the stories. We've got complex, conflicted, dark characters with a murky past, and we've got wonderfully empowered women who are just doing their thing. Plus, if you like seamstress stuff, the main character also makes dresses, so that's always a fun element too. So honestly, I think that's all I really have to say about this book. I just think it's fantastic, and I think you should read it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts if you do get around to it. So let me know down in the comments below if you've read this and if you're also like #1 fan for this book, or let me know if you're planning on reading it. I would love to know. But other than that, I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.
Alla gloria mia